7 better alternatives to nursing homes for seniors who want independence and dignity. Have you ever stopped mid-morning coffee and thought, is there a way to keep living on my own terms without trading my independence for a nursing homeroom? For many of us in our 60s, 70s, and beyond, the idea of packing up and moving into a facility can feel like handing over the keys to our lives before we're even ready, right? It might bring a knot of worry in your stomach like, what will happen to my routine, my familiar breakfast on the porch, my garden I've tended for decades? I've been there, all right. The question gnawed at me. Is a nursing home truly the only route when chores get tougher? When keeping up feels like climbing a hill that keeps getting steeper? Well, here's the thing. It doesn't have to be. You see, these days, there are options. 7 better paths, to be exact, that let you keep your autonomy, preserve your dignity, and still get the help you need, okay? Picture having supportive visits at home rather than strangers bustling through your bedroom. Or maybe sharing a home with loved ones so you still feel part of a family. Maybe technology can lend a hand, turning your house into a smart haven that keeps you safe without sacrificing freedom. These aren't just pie-in-the-sky ideas. They're choices folks across America are using right now to age gracefully on their own terms, all right? Today, I want to walk you through the first 2 of those 7 alternatives so you can see how they might fit into your life. And if along the way you feel like this is the kind of conversation you want more of, tip stories and real solutions for living fully in your later years, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you won't miss a single idea, okay? Let's get started with our very first option. Staying right where you are, in your own home, but bringing in just the right kind of support. Imagine waking up in the same bedroom you've known since your kids were small sunlight peeking through curtains you picked out 50 years ago. There's something comforting about those creaky floorboards that know every shuffle of your slippers. You head to the kitchen and smell the coffee percolating, just like it always has. And the memories of family Thanksgiving dinners come flooding back. But lately, maybe bending down to tie your shoes feels like a mini workout, and washing dishes is starting to tire you out. Instead of signing up for a nursing facility, you arrange for occasional help from someone who cares, someone who comes in, keeps an eye on your safety, helps with light housekeeping, and maybe reminds you to take your meds, right? I call this option Home Sweet Home with Support. It's not about having a caregiver follow you around every minute. It's about finding that golden balance. Just enough assistance so you can keep doing the things you love without feeling like you've lost control. Let me tell you about my neighbor Dolores down in Naples, Florida. At 8, she still loved her morning stroll around the block, but she admitted her knees weren't what they used to be. So she signed up for a few hours of help each week from a local in-home care service, light bulb changes, vacuuming, and checking that her fridge was stocked. In return, Dolores still cooked her favorite omelets, chatted with friends over the fence, and sang in the church choir every Sunday. It was her home, no facility rules, no regimented schedules. Just friendly support that let her stay exactly where she belonged, okay? Now, I get it. Hiring help sounds pricey. But here's a little secret. Many communities have programs designed just for folks like us. Some counties offer subsidized home visits. Nonprofits arrange volunteer check-ins, and faith-based groups often pitch in with chores or rides to doctor's appointments. I heard about a gentleman in Des Moines who qualified for a voucher program that covered half the cost of weekly aids. He split the care days with a neighbor, so they pooled resources and kept each other company. It's amazing what you can arrange when you ask around. Community centers, your church bulletin, or even chatting with your pharmacist might lead you to just the right service, all right? And let me emphasize, staying in your own home keeps you close to everything you know. The coffee shop where everyone knows your name, the park where you toss bread to the ducks, the Friday night lights at the high school stadium that have been lighting up your weekends for decades. That sense of belonging is priceless. And Home Sweet Home with Support is all about preserving it. You still call the shots, what time you get up, what cereal you have, when you water that patch of roses out front, while having someone drop by to make sure the little things don't trip you up, right? All right, now, let's slide into our second alternative, family ties, shared lives. Maybe you have grown children who live nearby, or maybe your grandkids spend summers crashing in the guest room. Instead of thinking of moving to a facility, picture moving in with a child or grandchild or setting up a multi-generational household where you're an active part of daily life. Now, I know what you're thinking. Won't I be a burden? Will I lose my privacy? Those are valid concerns, but with a little planning and communication, it can become one of the most rewarding experiences, okay? Let me give you a picture. My brother Jim moved in with his daughter's family up in Seattle after he retired. At first, he thought he'd be on the sidelines, just an extra mouth to feed or a couch to sleep on. Instead, he became the family storyteller, sharing tales of his time in the Air Force, teaching his granddaughter how to knit those scarves that never unravel, and even refereeing backyard games of tag. In return, his son-in-law set up a ramp at the front door so Jim could navigate his scooter safely, and his daughter arranged grocery delivery on Tuesdays so he didn't have to wrestle with heavy bags. Meals became family events again, Sunday spaghetti nights, pancakes on Saturday mornings, and Jim felt needed and loved. He wasn't locked away. He was living among kin, adding to the rhythm of household life, all right? Now, I know every family is different. Some might not have a spare bedroom or kids who can swing helping an elderly parent around the clock. But families can get creative. Maybe you rotate who hosts grandma or grandpa every few months. Perhaps siblings share the load. One takes January through April, another May through August, and so on. If you live in a smaller town somewhere like Amarillo or Boise, neighbors know you, and they'll step in like family. You might find a cousin in the next county who's happy to lend their spare room, or a close friend who treats you like their own. By weaving yourself into a household that cares, you keep your dignity and independence, right? And for many of us, living with kids or grandkids can be a joy we didn't realize we were missing. Watching those little faces light up when you tell stories of the good old days, teaching them how to make your famous cornbread, or simply being there to lend an ear at the dinner table, these moments can give you a renewed sense of purpose. Instead of feeling sidelined, you become an integral part of that family's daily life. Of course, it takes open conversation talk about chores you'll handle, tasks you need help with, and respect for each person's boundaries. When done right, family ties, shared lives, can be a win-win. Everyone pitches in, everyone benefits, and you stay in an environment that feels loving and safe, okay? Now, I want to pause for a moment and say, if this conversation is sparking ideas for you, go ahead and tap that subscribe button so we can keep exploring creative ways to live fully in our later years. Elders Life is all about celebrating independence and sharing real-world stories from folks who've been there, done that. All right? So, we've taken a good look at 2 of the 7 alternatives: staying at home with a bit of extra help through Home Sweet Home with support, and blending into the everyday bustle of a household with family ties, shared lives. Both options let you keep your sense of self while getting the assistance you need. No sterile facility required. They remind us that aging doesn't have to mean surrendering our independence. It can mean expanding our community and finding creative solutions that honor our wishes, right? Now that we've talked about keeping home base intact with a helping hand and sharing life with family under one roof, let's jump on to smart and safe, tech-ready aging. All right? Stay tuned, because in the next segment, we'll dive into how simple gadgets and smart home tricks can keep you safe and empowered without turning your house into a hospital wing. Thanks for watching Elders Life. Keep your chin up, stay curious, and remember, you deserve to live on your own terms, all right? So we've explored how to stay in your own cozy home with a little help here and there, and how living under one roof with family can breathe new life into our days. Now, let's jump on to another option that's catching on fast. Smart and safe, tech-ready aging. You might raise an eyebrow and think, technology for me? But stick with me, all right? This isn't about turning your house into a sci-fi lab. It's about simple, affordable gadgets that let you keep your independence without sacrificing safety. Picture this. You wake up at 6:30 a.m., and instead of fumbling for the light switch in the dark, a gentle glow guides your way, courtesy of motion-activated hallway lights. As you shuffle toward the kitchen, a voice assistant chimes in. "Good morning. Today's forecast is sunny, 75 degrees, so you know whether to grab that jacket or head out in your slippers." These little touches aren't just for convenience. They can prevent a tumble at 5 a.m. when the last thing you want is to land on the floor, all right? Let me tell you about my buddy Earl out in Tucson. He's 80, a former truck driver, and even he admitted that when he tripped over the cat one night, he knew something had to change. So, Earl got a few devices: a voice-activated assistant to turn lights on and off, a medication reminder system that beeps when it's time for his blood pressure pill, and a wireless sensor on his front door that alerts his daughter if he hasn't come back inside by dinner. He still lives in his own house, tends his cactus garden, and goes to the VFW for bingo on Fridays only. Now he's got tech watching his 6, making sure a small slip doesn't become a big problem, okay? Maybe you're thinking this all sounds pricey or over your head. But here's the thing. Lots of senior centers, libraries, or even local telecom companies host Tech for Seniors workshops, where someone patient walks you through setting up a tablet or smartphone. Believe it or not, once you learn the basics, you'll wonder how you ever lived without a weather app or video calling grandkids. You might start with just 1 or 2 gadgets, maybe a smart thermostat to keep the house comfy without you wrestling with dials, or a wearable alert button you can press if you ever feel unsteady. In time, you'll have a custom setup that fits you like your favorite cardigan, all right? Now, let's glide into the next idea. Together, with boundaries. This isn't quite the same as moving in with family, This is more about creating a community of peers who share a space, support each other, but still enjoy plenty of privacy. Think of it as a cluster of small private houses or apartments around a shared courtyard. You might have your own kitchen and living room, but just a few steps away is a common house where neighbors bring a potluck dinner, play cards, or help each other with yard work. It's like having the best of both worlds, living independently but never feeling isolated. All right? I know folks who've chosen this setup in places like Asheville and Sedona. Take Margaret, for example, a retired school teacher who sold her big suburban home and bought a small cottage in a co-housing community. She has her own space painted in lavender, hung pictures of her students over the years, but she also has neighbors she can chat with every afternoon on the shared porch. They take turns coordinating weekly grocery runs, share rides to church, and if someone falls ill, everyone rallies to ensure meals get delivered and errands are run. Margaret jokes that it's like living in the Golden Girls' house, only without the TV cameras, right? Everyone respects each other's privacy. You don't knock on her door at dawn, and she doesn't rummage through their fridge when they're away. Boundaries are clear, so it feels comfortable for folks who value alone time, but loathe loneliness. Another friend in Boulder told me his stepdad tried co-housing because he was too independent for a traditional assisted living facility, but craved community. The day the stepdad fell trimming shrubs, his neighbor found him and called 911. Later that night, they all gathered for a taco night in the common house, making sure he knew he wasn't alone. That blend of safety net, camaraderie, and personal space turned out to be a lifeline and a lot less institutional than a nursing home, okay? So with smart and safe tech-ready aging, and together with boundaries, you get to craft a living arrangement that suits exactly how you like to roll. Whether that's with a few gadgets keeping watch, or a circle of peers just down the hall, ready with a smile and a casserole. Both approaches say, I'm still in charge, thank you very much, but I appreciate having a little backup. They're about aging on your own terms, keeping dignity intact, while letting practical safeguards kick in when needed. These first four alternatives, staying put with some help, sharing a home with family, embracing smart technology, or forming a tight-knit community with clear boundaries, show there's no single right way to age. You get to choose what fits your personality, budget, and comfort level, all right? Up next, we'll delve into freedom living with a safety net, connected independence through technology, and generations living side by side. We'll flesh out 3 more paths that widen our horizon even further. Thanks for staying with me on Elder's Life. Let's keep exploring these real-world options so you can find the one that lets you hold on to the reins of your own life. Watch the videos on screen.